What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. I read the title today. CBS. Well, this wasn't today. They did it August 20th. That's 6 days ago. But I was on vacation when this came out. Leave me alone. CBS Sports ranked the top 25 best players of the last 25 years. CBS Sports. This article was written by Brad Botkin, James Herbert, and Jasmine Wimbinyama. I don't know where I was going with that. We're going to get into this list. It's a pretty interesting list. We're going to go top to bottom because that's just how they have it organized. We're going to start at number one. It's obvious. It's LeBron James. This is the greatest player of the 2000s. This is maybe the greatest player of all time. I said that a few weeks ago in a video, and I got 80 comments telling me I'm an idiot. You believe what you want to believe, dog. I think he's my greatest player I've ever seen. He's the greatest player I'll ever witness in my life. I like LeBron. I'm a Celtics fan who hated LeBron for way too many years, and now I'm like, all right, he's 50. He's 40, I know, but like he's 80 years old. He's getting AARP checks hooping. Nobody else is doing it like this. Just appreciate it while it's here, dog. I mean, this guy's just the second greatest player of all time. We're not going to get into it. Number two is also obvious. It's Steph. The guy is one of the biggest winners of this generation, I will say. I mean, even going back to Davidson, you're talking about his upsets in the tournament. Electric, his whole career. The best three-point shooter of all time. Not even close. The second best point guard of all time. I don't think that's a hot take anymore. I think a lot of people would. It's a hot take if I say he's better than Magic. I don't think he's better than Magic, though. I want to turn down my light one more notch. It was a little too bright. I don't think he's better than Magic, but he is the second best point guard of all time in my mind. He's also the greatest shooter of all time. He's just one of a kind, and he's won 4 championships. 4, right? 2022, 2015, 2018, and 19. Yeah, 4. Could have been 5 if the team didn't literally die in 2019. Or it was 17 and 18, not 18 and 19 when they won, because 19's Kawhi. You know what I mean. Yeah, if their whole team didn't die in 2019, like KD blowing his Achilles and Clay blowing his ACL in that series, and I think Boogie was on that team, but he was hurt for that series too. There was a lot going on that year. Yeah, Steph Curry is the second greatest point guard of all time, best shooter ever. Pretty easy there. Tim Duncan this high. It's interesting because some of his workload was in 1997, 1998, 1999. That gets lifted off. I'm pretty sure he does have an MVP in the 2000s. Yeah, 2001 and 2002. Also one of the greatest defensive players ever. I don't know if they're going to mention that in this article. He had good longevity. Not terrific longevity. Tim Duncan is undisputedly one of the best big men ever. Probably the best power forward of all time. I'm curious where Dirk is on this list now. Where's Dirk going to end up? If Timmy D's at 3, I'm not saying Dirk is close to Timmy D. He's not really. Duncan's just more of a winner. Won more championships, has more MVPs, I believe, 2-1. But I am curious where they have Dirk because I'd probably say he's the second best power forward of this generation. Giannis is getting close, man. So is KG. I don't know. It's a stacked group. Let's see where they go. Tim Duncan at 3. I respect it, though. A couple MVPs, 5 titles. 4 in the 2000s or 5 in the 2000s? I don't remember. But either way, he was so damn talented. And listen, top 10 in MVP voting at 39. Doesn't happen very often. Big Yoke at 4. I respect it. 3 MVPs, I think, right? 3 MVPs. Yeah, he's won 3 of them. Second in league in steals last year. I think that's something that a lot of people didn't realize. He was second in league in steals. Wasn't even close to number 1 because Dyson Daniels was on another level. But Jokic does have some of the best hands in the NBA. Softest touch around the rim in the NBA, for sure, in my opinion. The softest touch in basketball. And just an unstoppable force, really. He struggled in the Thunder series last year for some portions of it. Again, who cares? He was spectacular in the rest of the series. He's only won 1 championship, so people may knock him for that. I wouldn't, because his 1 championship, to me, is stupid impressive. I know they didn't face a 50-win team. I think the stat was they didn't face a single 50-win team. Again, that's not really his fault. You can only play who wins the other series. For instance, the Nuggets couldn't just be like, nope, we opt to play. I forget who had the best record in the league that year. Also, they didn't opt to play the 8-seed Heat coming out of the East that year either. But either way, he's won a championship. He's proven he could do it, and he's risen to the occasion. I mean, he will be one of the greatest bigs to ever play when he has them hung up. Shaq Diesel. Ooh, is he better than Yoke right now? Jokic's resume isn't done, and I think that's what leads them to put them higher than Shaq. But we know who Shaq is, bro. He's one of the most dominant players ever, probably the most physically dominant, because there's different levels of dominant. People say Shaq's the most dominant player ever, and I'm like, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Like, you know what I mean? Physically dominant, absolutely. He would put his ass and shoulder into you, and you would be in the basket. And then he's dunking it on you. And then he's pushing you to the floor. Shout out to Mr. Dudley. He made him look like Spike Dudley, throwing him to the floor like that. If you're a WWE fan, that was a good reference. Some of y'all might like that one. Is Shaq better than Yoke? Right now, I would have Shaq higher than Yoke, in terms of rankings. In terms of like if I did a top 10 players of all time, top whatever players of all time, I would probably have Shaq over Yoke. But I think what they're doing here is they're basically saying this guy ain't slowing down anytime soon. If he wins another MVP this year, that's 4. Not many guys have 4 more MVPs. Diesel is amazing, was amazing, whatever. I think the back half of Shaq's career kind of gets overlooked by some people. People don't realize in Miami, they probably could have won more than one title had Shaq committed himself to becoming the best version of Shaq that he could. D-Wade was unstoppable in 06. Go watch all those series. That playoff run was... he was a possessed man in 06. Shaq was definitely really good. I'm not disrespecting Shaq. But by the time he got to the Heat, he wasn't the same as Lakers Shaq. He was overweight. He clashed with Pat Riley over it. The back end of Shaq's career, to me, is regarded as, honest to God, just underwhelming. The front half was amazing, so he really didn't have much to prove after the age of like 32. But you think about it, he goes to the Suns, again, overweight, out of shape, makes an all-star team, but isn't the same. Cavaliers and Celtics, nobody wants to fucking remember him there. Literally post-Lakers, it wasn't the same. And I think we're not going to have to worry about that with Nikola Jokic because there ain't no way he's going to stick around. Once Nikola Jokic doesn't want to play basketball anymore, his ass is going home. He's catching the first flight back to Serbia, and yeah, he's gone forever. Diesel, on the other hand, oh God, I don't know. He's still in the media too much. I canceled his show at the Milwaukee Brewers game. So, you know what? He deserves this. You cancel your show at the Milwaukee Brewers game. How dare you, DJ Diesel? Kobe at 6? It makes sense. What does he only have, like 1 MVP? No disrespect to him, but I don't think I can rank him higher than Shaq, Duncan, or these other guys because they won, as well as they have more individual accolades. Shaq has more MVPs than Kobe, I believe. Shaq has this 1 less championship than Kobe because Kobe has 5 rings, right? Yeah, 2 with the, yeah. So Kobe has 5, Shaq would have 4. So he has, you know what? I don't know, man. Would I have Kobe over Shaq? Probably not, because Shaq's dominance was literally a 3 to 4 year span where nobody was really close to him in the center discussion. Kobe had like McGrady, Iverson types against him in terms of positional battles. Shaq did not. Of course, Kobe is spectacular. They're working on a biopic. I don't know how to pronounce that word about him. I forget who's doing it, but I don't know. I'll be there. It's not going to be about like his career. I think it's only going to be about the 2 that he won at the end. I don't know. It would have been like his 99 ring, his first one. They're doing a biopic about his first championship. We miss Kobe Bryant, obviously. I hate being hot take guy because I don't like hot take guys. You know, the people in the world who are just here to spit out hot takes. But this number is some fucking horseshit, dog. No disrespect to Kobe. He deserves all defense teams. 12? Go watch him on them. Some of the mid 2000s Lakers teams, post Shaq era. He was not locking up. The team was terrible, and he needed to score 60 a night to have a chance to win. He was not locking up anymore. It was like 18 LeBron at a point, where it was like, he doesn't give a shit about defense because he has to control everything on the other side of the ball. You know, every all-time great has that part to them. 12-time all-defense is just straight-up cap. But he is one of the best scorers ever, a multiple-time MVP. You know, he deserves to be number 6, I would say, easily. Giannis is going to be a tough one to rank because, like, career-wise, him and KG are like this. Really close. Sure, Giannis won his first ring earlier than KG did. but they both have a Defensive Player of the Year. I think Giannis has 2 MVPs compared to KG's 1, but they're really, really close in terms of like I think KG is better defensively than Giannis. He's also more, I won't say more skilled offensively because people don't like that term, but like he definitely has more touch to his game. But Giannis is adding. You watch Giannis last year, he took more mid-ranges than ever. Yeah, Giannis is just one of the best of all time. We see, oh boy. It's interesting. Oh man, that's interesting. Giannis at 7. I don't know if I'd agree with him over Kevin. I know the 1 championship Giannis has as the main guy to some people means more than the 2 KD has with the Warriors because it wasn't his team. It was Steph's team. He joined the greatest team ever in terms of regular season record. But they have the same amount of MVPs. I believe they both have 1. Or no. Jesus Christ. Giannis has 2. KD has 1. Scoring titles, I'm pretty sure KD has like 2 on the mantle. I don't know. Giannis versus KD, if I had to put my foot down, I'd probably say Giannis. Just because, like, how do I describe this? He's also the best help defender, one of the best help defenders in the league, rotating defender most of the time, especially when Brook Lopez was at his best in Milwaukee. He was basically protecting the paint, and Giannis would play the kind of like a Jaren Jackson role where it was like come over, play help defender, block shots. I would probably take Giannis, but I know a lot of people would take KD. Because KD's buckets, let's be honest, a lot prettier of a game. Kevin Durant plays 10 times more of a pretty game than Giannis Antetokounmpo does. Which one produces more? That's kind of up to you. I think I'm going to take Giannis because he's at least on par playmaking with KD. Neither one of them are huge passers. I think Giannis has become really good at it, but still not elite. KD has never been a really elite passer. In terms of scoring, Giannis gets it more efficiently done because it's dunks and layups a lot, while KD's more jump shot reliant. Scoring's pretty, I'd probably have to give scoring to KD, though, because scoring titles and the threat of the outside shot. And then, like, rebounding, Giannis. Defense, Giannis. Athleticism, Giannis. You know, I don't know. If we're doing check boxes, but check boxes don't really win it all the time. I don't know. I'd probably take him over KD, though. KD at 8 is interesting because he's in front of KG. Again, very interesting. Really interesting. I think the hardest part about dealing with KG's legacy is, like, never got the chance to win in Minnesota. Like, they had some decent teams. Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell, Joe Smith. You know, they had a bunch of guys. They have Greg Ostertag at one point. I thought they might have late career. He might not have been there. Wally Zerbiak was an all-star there. You know, but overall, those were some mid-ass teams. And I think we can both look at each other in the face and say them teams KG was playing with in Minnesota were not pretty, especially after they let Spree walk. They had Marbury, which Stephon Marbury thought Stephon Marbury was the best player on every team Stephon Marbury played on. It's really interesting. I would probably have KD over KG, just because, like I said, man, KG never really got the chance to win in Minnesota, so we can never really see it. KG at least has a finals appearance as the main guy in OKC. They made the finals. And I thoroughly believe that if Pat Bev didn't blow up Russell Westbrook's knee, they probably win the finals in, was that 14, 13, somewhere around there. Do I think KG? I do think KG is a top 10 player. There's Dirk. So Dirk versus KG debates. Dirk versus KG debates are never ending, and I think I'm going to take KG over him just because, no offense to Dirk, he's not a horrible defender, but Kevin Garnett's a defensive player of the year guy, has the defensive intensity and everything like that I enjoy. I don't know, I'm a big fan of defense, and I take defensive accolades very seriously, I guess. Dirk, I questioned where he was going to be earlier in the video. This is about where I'd expect, but is there anyone behind him that I would take over him? Oh my god, dude, they faced each other in the finals. So that's fun. No, I don't know, man. Dwayne Wade's way better defensively. He's the best shot blocking guard in NBA history, probably. Derek White's coming. At the same time, Dwayne Wade doesn't have many individual accolades in terms of MVPs or scoring titles. He definitely could have won. I know he has the 09 scoring title, but he definitely could have won a championship, and I think that was 08 or 09. I think there was a year where he was like really, really good but got hurt. I might be misremembering. He was spectacular, man, and he wins a championship in year 3. I mean, who else does that? Doesn't happen very often. I really like D Wade. I think he's got a really complicated legacy in terms of on the court because, like, he doesn't have many individual accolades. Most of his best seasons were spoiled by injuries. Not his fault at all. It's just kind of what happened. And in terms of the back half of his career, like post 2012, I know they win the championship in 2013 with LeBron, and then they lose in 14. But in terms of back half career, 2012, 2013, 2014, D Wade, the wheels started falling off around 2013. So the back half of his career is a little bit more interesting. I don't know. I love D Wade though. One of the best, cleanest mid-range shooters. One of the fastest players ever, of course. The Flash is his damn nickname for a reason, and he's really good defensively. But I would agree, I would probably have Dirk better than Dwayne Wade. Chris Paul, again, another one that's complicated because it's like he doesn't have a championship. Yes, but he is one of the best passers of all time. He is one of the best floor raisers of all time in terms of point guards. He is one of the best leaders. This guy wins games. I know in the regular season, people are going to be like, he never won a championship. A lot of guys have never won a championship that win you games. Chris Paul was an elite defender at 6 foot. 6 foot, $180, and he was elite defensively. Doesn't happen very often. He's also the leader of that offense. Their team, the Pelicans teams that he had, Hornets, my bad, were all right. It was comparable to KG in Minnesota, to me at least. They had a couple of all-stars, David West, Peja Stojakovic. But then you look at KG, and it's like they had Sprewell, they had Cassell. Like, that's 2 all-stars, while Zerbiak was an all-star. It's like, how do you view help? A lot of people said Iverson never had help, but he had the Defensive Player of the Year, Dikembe Mutombo. He had the Sixth Man of the Year winner, Aaron McKee. He had a veteran point guard in Eric Snow. What do you define as no help? It's really interesting. I don't think Chris Paul never had no help. Well, early in his career, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. Do you think Chris Paul had enough help in them early runs with the Hornets, let's say 07 to 2012, where he could have got it done? Or do you think that those teams weren't good enough? There was a couple of seasons where maybe they were. David West, Peja, guys like that were really good, but I don't think they were good enough to win anything. But like you think about it, doesn't really miss the playoffs with the Clippers. I know they had so many injuries, man. He had so many injuries. Chris Paul. So you think about it, Chris Paul blows his hamstring out in the one series against the Spurs. That's the same series where, yes, they move on, but Chris Paul blew his hamstring. And Blake Griffin got hurt on the game winner because he fell and landed on his hand or back, something like that. Blake Griffin gets hurt in another series. Constant injuries to that Lob City era. He goes to the Rockets. Again, James Harden has maybe his best season as a pro, his best chance to win as an individual one option in 2018 against the, of course, 27 from 3 or whatever is ridiculous. Chris Paul wasn't playing, though. He goes to the Thunder. They have a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs. They end up making the playoffs convincingly. They're like a 4 seed. Him, Dennis Schroeder, and Young Shea were killing it. He goes to the Suns. The Suns are a shit team for a majority of the seasons prior to him. In the bubble, they put a little bit of something together. They look like a fringe playoff team. Then they acquire Chris Paul that summer. They go on to damn near win a final. And in the back 2 stops, the Warriors and the Spurs. He spends a cup of tea with the Warriors where he's like, all right, but the team's pretty mid. And then he goes to the Spurs. Wembanyama gets blood clots, and De'Aaron Fox goes down with surgery, and their season's over. But in terms of in his prime, Hornets to Suns years, this guy never missed the playoffs, really, and I think there's value in that. Very, very long Chris Paul rant. I think I'd have him as a top 5 point guard of all time, probably number 5. In terms of point guard rankings, that if I want to do all time, I'd probably have Magic, Curry, Big O. I don't want to put John Stockton over him. I'd probably put Jason Kidd over him, and then Chris Paul would be number 5. Fuck John Stockton. He's not making the list. Kawhi Leonard, tough. Injuries. 2016 could have won MVP. I know there's people making that argument that he should have won it the year Brody won it. Russell Westbrook averaged a goddamn triple-double that year. I don't know. Kawhi Leonard was just so efficient that year, though. Yeah, 16. 2 finals MVPs, 2 finals wins. I mean, I don't know what else to say about Kawhi because he's a really weird legacy to leave behind. I think there's like a weird stat where he has 1 career triple-double. He has like 1 career game of 50-plus points. Kawhi is an interesting player to look at all time. One of the best defensive wings of this era. Kind of the most comparable thing to, like, what if Scottie Pippen played in today's era, except Scottie was a better passer. But it is very close of, like, this is what you would get if you took Scottie Pippen, put him in this era, and put him on his own team. It'd be pretty damn close. Steve Nash. I I guess I wouldn't put Steve Nash over Chris Paul. Chris Paul is the type of guy that would unload the clip. I don't think Steve Nash is that guy. I loved Steve Nash, don't get me wrong, but man, was it really, really annoying and really, really difficult to defend how passive he was for a majority of his career. I know that was his role in that offense, was to just be the assist man, but dog, when they needed him, he still wasn't scoring. 2 50, 40, 90. I mean, he has 4 50, 90. He has 4 50, 40, 90 seasons, but again, even he himself has acknowledged that he wishes he shot more. I wish he shot more. I don't know. It's just my opinion, though. James Harden. I would have James Harden over Steve Nash. Some people might not like that. James Harden as the main option has at least made a conference finals. James Harden as the main option should have 2 MVPs. Has 1. Should have 2 MVPs, in my opinion. Yeah, I would definitely have him over Steve Nash. Neither one of them is great defensively in their prime either, so you can't really pin one or the other as a bad defender. Steve Nash was, let's be honest, a shorter, less athletic guy. What did Larry Bird say? Don't put a what on me. It's disrespect to my game. Luka Doncic, not done yet. That's fun. Who's behind him? Okay, yeah, now we're in the area where I'm like, all right, this makes sense. Jason Kidd. I like J. Kidd. Do I have, oh, man. I think I would have Jason Kidd over Chris Paul all time. I think I like the size a little bit more. I like that he won at a couple different stops. He won with the Mavericks. He went to the finals with the Nets. You know, even with the Knicks, he goes there and he helps them build something when they had almost nothing years prior. I love Jason Kidd. I think he's maybe one of my favorite point guards of all time, and I still would have him over Chris Paul. I know some people might disagree with that, but it is what it is. Dwight Howard. This was the man that got me into basketball. Not many people know that, but Dwight Howard's Orlando Magic teams were the ones that really got me into basketball. Of course, I'd been watching basketball before that, paying attention, blah, blah, blah. But Dwight Howard's Magic teams like 07, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, that era Dwight Howard was the most electric big man I'd ever seen to that point. And I know Shaq was bouncing around. I wasn't watching 01 Shaq. I was literally 1. Prime Dwight Howard was like less mobile Giannis, I guess. He was more of a force defensively than Giannis was. This dude was a disgusting force defensively. 2.5 blocks. And his blocks weren't like rotate over, soft block. He was sending your shot to the fucking box seats. Like, he was hitting jerseys in the rafters with the shots he was blocking. Incredible defensive player. And it's a shame he didn't make the All-NBA 75 team. I'm pretty sure he missed that one. Ridiculous. One of the best defensive primes of all time, while still averaging 21 and 14. Shout out to Jameer Nelson. He was another guy that got me into basketball. Remember when Rafer Alston started in the finals because Jameer was hurt? That sucked. Anthony Davis. Another one where it's like, where do you rank him? He's just been hurt so much. Injuries. It's tough to kind of, I don't know, it's tough to really rank a guy who's missed so much time. Again, whenever Davis has been healthy. When you start a fucking sentence like that, you know he's never healthy. Same with Kawhi Leonard. It's just Anthony Davis, you know. You could argue he should have won 2020 Finals MVP right there. I'm not sure. I'm not saying he deserved it. But what I am saying is you can make an argument he deserved 2020 Finals MVP over Braun. It's just an argument I would make. Iverson this low is interesting. So they would have, okay, yeah, I guess he did some damage in the 90s too. In the back half was terrible. Like post 04, I would say Iverson was just depressing. He went to the Nuggets. That didn't make any sense because they had him and Carmelo, who that was just me, you, ISO ball. He goes to the Pistons. He moves to the bench. I think he moved to the bench in Denver. I don't know. And then he goes to the Grizzlies. If you have a Grizzlies Allen Iverson jersey, why? He was special. 6 foot flat. I mean, athleticism out of the ass, though. People don't talk about that. He had bounce coming into the league. Like, he could jump, and he was quick as hell. Maybe the fastest, like, first step of that era. Just a bucket. I would probably have James Harden over him as well. But AI is just beautifully. He played basketball beautifully. Is the only way I'll describe it. Speaking of beautiful basketball, T-Mac. Also, speaking of a guy with a really good start, really rough second half of their career, there's T-Mac. They didn't even list the Spurs on here. Where's Spurs? Where's the Spurs? That was his deepest playoff run, was on a team he didn't play for, really. 1997 to 2012. Again, this is a guy where it's like post 08. What was he doing? He was kicking tires with the Knicks and the Pistons and the Hawks and the Spurs. And you know what I mean? It's like he was just kicking tires everywhere he could, trying to get tread. You know, he just didn't have it late in his career. And I think that's what holds T-Mac back. The T-Mac versus Kobe conversation was peak clownery. Peak clownery, in my opinion. Just stupid. T-Mac, I don't know how to describe it. If T-Mac is drafted instead of Kobe to that team, all right, maybe you can make the argument. But if you drop prime T-Mac with that Shaq, it's unfair because Kobe wasn't in his prime. You know what I mean? I think that revisionist history stuff is a little bit too... I don't like it that much. Dame time. Bucks twice. Bucks twice? No, I think they meant Blazers twice. Because he was not with the Bucks twice. He actually only played 2 seasons there, I believe. I wish to forget Dame was a Buck. I think I'll forget that in my mind in like 3 years. Dame is the second best shooter of all time, in my opinion. His percentages might not be as pretty as you might like, but remember, this guy's taking him from 50. I think what Dame needed was a better supporting cast. Is that a hot take? Maybe. Let's move on. Jason Tatum. He's not done yet, and I think that's what holds him back. He's only been in the league he's still been in the league less than 10 years. Isn't that hard to believe? But I think that's what's holding him back is the fact that he hasn't been able to do a ton yet. And he's going to miss year 9, which sucks. But I think in about 2, let's say Tatum comes back from the Achilles and he's the same player. Let's just assume he's the same ass player, which is a fair assumption. Some guys have done that more recently. Achilles surgeries are getting better. Medical science is getting better. The rehab and the training from those Achilles injuries is also getting better. So I think in 2-3 years of play, he would easily pass Dame. He will easily pass T-Mac. He will easily pass AI. He might pass AD. I think Jason Tatum's going to pass a majority of the guys in front of him with another healthy couple of seasons. Just depends on how healthy he is. Shea, another one where it's like only 2-3 years of really being a great player. He was really good before that. If I'm giving him a 2K rating, if I'm giving Clippers Shea a 2K rating, I'm giving him like a 79. And then his first year with Chris Paul and them, Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Steven Adams, I'll give him like a 87. Last year he's a 99. You know what I mean? Like, it took him a few years to really get into being like that guy. And he's another one who's just going to move. He's going to continue to move up as long as he stays injury free. He's probably going to pass Jason Tatum, and it's going to make me sick, but it's going to happen. Russell Westbrook. I know some people might not like that. He could be higher. I think he definitely could be higher. I think he could be above Shea for now because Shea's not done yet. You know what I mean? Does the championship hold that much weight? Because if it does, I would definitely have Jason Tatum and Shea over T-Mac in that regard, because Tracy McGrady didn't even make a second round as the main guy. Obviously, there's context to that. They were never really that good. And people point to the 3-1 blown lead. They were up against a 1 seed as an 8 seed. A little bit contextualized, it's like, it's not as bad. But yeah, I think Russell Westbrook's a really weird one where people are going to remember him as I'm going to remember him as one of the most funny and fun players I've ever watched. He's close to, and I've said this comparison before, he's very close to like NBA equivalent of Jameis Winston. Of course, he doesn't have the Uber ride charges that Jameis Winston does. Sorry, I'm on a new diet. I'm eating way less than before, and I've been feeling really rude recently, so of course I got to throw Jameis Winston under the bus for having a spectacular PR team. Don't look up why Jameis Winston's not allowed in Ubers, but Russell Westbrook and Jameis Winston are super close to each other, in my opinion. I know Russell Westbrook individually talented way more than Jameis Winston was. Winston was never close to sniffing an MVP. Russ has won one, but it's Jameis Winston-esque where it's like this guy's going to keep you in the game by making every spectacular play you need, but then with a minute left in the game, he's going to turn the football over and lose you the game that he literally just dragged your team back into. It's so fun to watch. And for the team that employs Russell Westbrook, I'd imagine it's not that fun. Some Nuggets fans were probably really, really happy that he won them game 1 or 2 against the Clippers last year. But then he also goes out and he loses them game 5 or 6 against the Thunder, where he dribbles the ball out and takes a rushed 3. That was an ugly possession. You know what I'm talking about, Nuggets fans and Thunder fans. I think it was during that series. But he'll also win you a game. He'll lose you a game. Russ Paradigm, man, it's so fun to watch. That's what I'm going to remember him for, is being the best player to make the worst errors I've ever seen. Closing thoughts. I don't think this is a bad list at all. I really don't. I think it's pretty good. Pretty accurate for the 21st century. It's honestly about where I'd have it as well. There's a couple tweaks that I'd make, of course, but it's harder to rank guys who are currently active versus a guy whose career ended 10 years ago. You know, comparing Jason Tatum versus Tracy McGrady, really difficult to do, considering one's not even close to done and the other one's been very, very done, you know. So it's really difficult for them to do, but I don't feel like they did a terrible job. I don't think this is one of the bad ones I've read where it's like, you know, we have Kobe Bryant at 15th, and it's like, okay, you're clearly just trying to be different. They did a pretty good job. This ain't bad. If you enjoyed this video, you should subscribe, you should stick around. I'm doing positional rankings soon. Shooting guards will be out soon. I'm going to go catch a game. See you guys in the next one.